What's good, fam? Agent O here with another action figure review, and today I have the SH Figuarts Street Fighter Gouki, aka Akuma, aka that guy in the Street Fighter HD remix that would hit you twice and take away like half your energy bar. So yeah, this is the figure. I finally have it in hand, and I am eager to dig into this guy and tell you all the goods, the bad, and the ugly. And yeah, so this is the box art, and whoop-de-doo, let's get to the review. And here we go. And so, right off the bat, I really dig the physical proportions that they did on this figure. He's a bigger, bulkier guy, and his character model obviously is representative of that. And I think they did a pretty good job with recreating that in action figure form. And just to give you a little bit of idea for scale, here he is next to Ryu. You can tell that he is a little bit taller. He's got a little bit more going on with the hair than Ryu does, but his shoulders are just a smidge taller than Ryu's as well. So the scale is on point, and when you see them side by side or squaring off next to each other, like this guy, he looks threatening, and he looks like he'll be formidable. So they got all that off obviously with this figure. So yeah, I just wanted to put that in there for visual aid. As far as the aesthetics go, once again, I do like I don't mind the fact that they're doing a more anime-ish look with these figures. So there's not as much going on paint app wise as you would see on other figures. And you have to remember, these figures are based off of a video game, so the color schemes aren't going to be as wild and out of and crazy like you've seen other video games, or if you see it with other figures. There is some paint apps, and not everything is just a base color. There's some wash. There's a little bit of subtle wash going on here in the arms, in the upper arms, in between the deltoid, bicep, and tricep. My camera may or may not pick it up too well, but it is definitely there. Also, there's a little bit of a wash on his gi, mainly on the corners where his where the torn sleeves are, and you can see it a bit more on his back, on the edges, on the sides, and on the bottom. Basically anywhere where there is shadow, there is a little bit of a subtle wash. And I actually like that. I like that it's not, that the wash isn't so dark and contrasty to the point where it makes everything look dirty. Could there have been a little bit more color on this guy? Yeah, definitely. Not everything needed to be just one color, like his rope wraps or on his rope belt. The face, I don't mind that there's no extra paint apps on the face, because the sculpt is so nice that, and the light plays off of it so well, that I don't think it's necessary, other than for the eyes, obviously. And even that, he's got the demonic look thing going on. I mean, he looks like he just smelled somebody's fart and is really PO'd. As far as the hair, it's like a two-tone color going on there, and I think that works as well. It's representative of the character. They didn't do that thing that they did with Ryu, where the upper gi had a cloth texture to it, like a bump mat texture, and then the legs were just smooth. This is smooth all the way around, and that works for me. Either do it for both or don't do it at all, and they didn't do it at all for this, so that's fine. I do also, since we're still on the subject of aesthetics, I did also want to talk about the Soda figure in the line, because I still really like the Soda line. I like what they were able to pull off with the Street Fighter license, and it's funny because, like, I think this version of Akuma that Soda did is was definitely one of my favorite sculpts in the line. M. Bison was a pretty nice sculpt. Balrog was a pretty good sculpt. Gen was. There were some really good sculpts in that line, and it's impressive because this line was basically done by one guy. The one guy hand sculpted all these figures. It's not like today where, like I mentioned in the Cami video, where everything's computer sculpted now. And there's things that they did in this figure that I like a lot more than I do on the Figuarts figure, and vice versa, and I'm just going to get into that really quick. As far as the Soda figure, I like how there's a lot of, as far as like the sculpt of his gi, there's a lot of sharp edges, and just there's, you know, stitching in the details, and even in his rope belt, they used a darker wash. You don't have to excuse the dust. I had this guy out on display and it got dusty, but I like the fact that they used a dark wash on this. I think this works in this case on the rope belt because you can see the you can see the detail a little bit better, and it gives more contrast, whereas it's a little more flat. Even though you see the detail on this guy as well, on his rope belt, it's flatter, and it's a little more plainer looking. This is a little bit more dynamic when you got the lighting just right, and you can see it just looks, to me, it just stands out more. Same thing with the sculpt, and they used a dark wash over the figure as well, and they even managed to put in the Japanese symbol for heaven. As you can see, they didn't do that on the Figuarts figure, but I'm not mad at that, only because you only really see this on his back in the game when he does his like taunt, or when he does his Raging Demon art super move. So I'm not really that mad that they didn't do that. As far as like other aspects of attention to detail, I really dig the sculpt on the sandals. Like, look at the bottom of that sandal. Once my camera focuses, it might not be focusing because he's still in the shot, but look at the sculpt and the attention to detail. It looks like somebody took rope or twine and wove it into you know, a traditional Japanese, you know, feudal Japan sandal, and it works. It looks good. When you look at the Figuarts Akuma, it's this plain looking texture. It almost looks like a bump map in a 3D program or something. It works, but it's not as cool looking as this. So I really dig that. And then the one thing I think that the Soda figure has going for it a bit more than the Figuarts figure is the beaded necklace, because it's actually a beaded necklace. This is just a molded piece of plastic, you know, the essence of a necklace. But you know, the fact that this was done back in the day on a figure that was a mass-produced figure that you could buy in brick-and-mortar stores, and this is supposed to be a higher-end action figure for collectors, says a lot about how things have changed over the years when it comes to toy production. Something like this, they would have charged you a lot more on a figure like this as an accessory, but you just kind of got this along with the other accessories he came with for a reasonably decent price. And you know, that's not the way things are priced nowadays isn't Figuarts' fault. It's the market, and it's the companies and how much they feel they can get away with charging people for these for their nostalgia, basically. But that's another argument and another discussion for another day. I just think this is loads better than the Figuarts figure, and I was curious, so I took his necklace off and switched it out with the Figuarts Akuma, and I think it just makes the figure look that much cooler, because it reminds me of the concept art from the older games where, you know, Akuma or Bengus or either or would draw Akuma with these really big beads on his necklace, and it was something cool and dynamic, because I personally hadn't seen anything like that before, so it really added to his character, and I think this just makes him look that much better. I mean, it looks so much better with that necklace on than this. This just ain't doing it. This ain't cutting it, man. I also do like the head sculpt on this figure as well. It reminds me of the artwork again, and you can see he's got some of the gray by his sideburns, because this is based more off of the Street Fighter 3 Third Strike Akuma, because in that one he was starting to show a little bit of age. They had him with gray hair. I guess they just reversed all that once they rebooted it with Street Fighter 4, but that's once again another conversation for another day. So also one other thing, I also think the articulation on the Soda figure is pretty good, especially for its time. Obviously there's just a bit more going on with the Figuarts version, just because of the way their engineering is. They've got to refine down to a science. So the Figuarts definitely beats the Soda figure in the articulation department. But since we're talking about articulation, I'm just going to jump right into the Figuarts. For the Figuarts Akuma, and of course he has. I mean, if you have the Ryu figure, you kind of already know what you're getting into as far as articulation goes. There really isn't anything new to report, so I'm just going to run through this really fast. He has the ball jointed head. He has the ball jointed neck, so you can get all that movement going on as well. His arms are connected. You might not be able to see in there too well, but it's a ball swivel, which is connected to a ball joint in the butterfly joint. So you have all that going on. There's not a whole lot of rotation in the shoulder, just because of his deltoids are just sculpted so big that you can't get a whole lot of rotation. And there's no bicep swivel because they didn't want to break up the sculpt. Instead the swivel is in the elbow. So, and I don't like this. This is the one thing about this fighting body line that they did that I just don't care for. I don't care for this swivel in the elbow, because when you have the arm bent and you turn it, it looks like his arm has been broken at the elbow. That's just me. It's just a little pet peeve of mine. I like to have my figures looking anatomically correct when they're in their poses. So other people might be more forgiving for that. I am not. So that doesn't take away from the posability factor of this figure. Just because you can rotate it, you can get a good rotation. Also forgot to point out, I can get his arms up about that high. But you can get good rotation out of that elbow if you need to. But like I said, it looks broken. So I don't know. Hopefully they find a workaround for that. But it is what it is for now. The wrists are on a ball swivel as well, which is connected to a ball joint that holds the hand in place. And so you got that. You got the up and down motion, and you've got rotation. He's got a decent ab crunch and a diaphragm joint as well. He's got a hip swivel. Lots of movement. He's got the double, I call it the double swivel hips, because you got a swivel for going out, which gives him that much of a split. And you've got the swivel for going backwards and forwards. So forward, you get that much play. Backwards, you get that much play. He also has thigh swivel. You can see if you lift up his gi top, you can see the swivel is built in, and you get that much rotation out of it. And you know, I really like the fact that they're doing these thigh swivels this way, because a lot of people I've read online don't like the thigh swivel cut, and that's why they like the ankle. They like the ankle cut, which is weird, or the calf cut, which I don't understand, but whatever. That's mainly the Marvel Legends crowd, and some of the things they like are questionable to me. Anyway, he's got double jointed knees, and you get that much of a bend out of them. And these knee joints are pretty nice because they're small, but you still get decent range of motion out of them. His ankles, he's got ankle rockage, like so. he can point his feet out like so, bring them in like so, and he's got toe point. So yeah, it's all there, just like the Ryu figure and what have you. You know, there's no real issues. You can do all the cool video game poses that he does, you know, that sort of thing. So I'm gonna just move on to his accessories. He comes with 3 sets of hands total. He has the fists, obviously, that are default closed fists. He has these posed hands for, you know, various stances. You can put his hands on. You can put his. You can have for, you know, when he gets right before he gets into his. He starts to do the raging demon art. I use these hands for that pose, or just, you know, jumping in the air or standing ready to fight. So, you know, he has these, and they're sculpted pretty nicely, and what have you. And he also has his fireball hands, like so. And those look pretty good as well. Yeah, I got no problems with these. Once again, really nice sculpt. And he comes with a total of 3 sets of faces that you can switch out. He has his default face, and all you do is just pull it off. And then he has another kind of default face. It looks almost the same as the default head, but the eyes are turned looking towards his left, similar to the Ryu head, where his eyes are turned. But I think it works better on Ryu than it does on Akuma. It just looks like he's got a lazy eye if you look at it straight ahead, but if you have it at an angle, if you turn his head a little bit, then it works a lot better. Not my favorite because the eyes just look a little off. You know, it looks better on the Ryu figure. And then the third face is his angry, teeth-bared face. So, and this one looks good. You know, use that for when he's throwing fireballs or shoryukens and all that good stuff. So he has that as well. He has those things as well, and they look good. No complaints there whatsoever. And he also comes with the fireball and the fireball stand. It's the exact same fireball stand that Ryu came with, and it's actually the exact same fireball. It's just they used the translucent purple, and I like the look of this. It's very vibrant and colorful, but it's very clear. It's a good quality plastic, and like I said, it's the exact same fireball sculpt that the Ryu had, and I think this works quite nicely. So it's all good with that. And I mean, that's pretty much it. That's pretty much all he comes with. He also comes with the little backdrop thing. I mean, mine's still in the plastic because I don't really care about these, but if you like setting up dioramas, that would definitely come into play quite nicely. But yeah, that's gonna pretty much do it. This is I mean, barring the things that I dislike about this figure, it's still a pretty solid entry in this action figure line, and I hope they continue making more of these characters. I hope they do, once again, I hope they do the main 16 from Street Fighter 2 to all the characters that showed up in the Street Fighter 2 games, including the 4 new World Warriors, because I need a DJ figure and I need a T-Hawk figure, because I never was able to get a hold of the Soda Toys T-Hawk. We need Zangief, we need Dalsim. I mean, we need a whole lot of people. You know, so hopefully they continue this line and finish those characters out. And yeah, that's pretty much going to do it. If you guys like what you saw, please hit that like and subscribe button. If you leave your comments or any questions you may have in the comments section, let me know what you guys think about the figure or about my review. And and I'm also on Facebook as well, so hit me up there, Agent Omega Man. Just do a search for that and I should pop up. I should be the only one. And that is pretty much going to do it. So until the next review, I'm going to catch you guys later. I'm Agent O and I'm out. Peace.